Hi, I'm Selena, and this is Kollektora. Hiling, tulugan na'y wala tiri, imong nanay, at tukinda bakal babay, hiniling, tulugan na'y. Happy Halloween, everyone! Although Filipinos tend to celebrate Halloween differently by visiting our relatives' graves and all, we are still fond of giving each other a good scare during this time of the year. That is why I've decided to make a little Halloween tribute episode to Filipino horror. Asian cinema has nuances that are different from Hollywood style. Asian horror tends to lean towards the occult and the supernatural that is rooted in our culture. The Philippines is not an exemption from this Asian trend, but being the only primarily Catholic nation in Asia has changed our profile of our films greatly. The Philippine horror genre has been touched by the Christian mythos, while still retaining the focus on the supernatural with flares from our own folklore. Instead of serial killers with knives, chainsaws, and machetes, we get aswangs, manananggals, and mangkukulams. A prime example would be the first Filipino horror film, which was released in 1941, entitled Halimaw, which literally translates to monster. The films that scare us today reflect many of the recurrent fears of society: global pandemics, destruction of the environment, crime, or racism. Fear of war and nuclear weapons influenced many of the horror films in the 1940s and 1950s, from War of the Worlds to Godzilla, zombie films, and climate change films like Day After Tomorrow. More recently, elevated horror films are tackling modern social issues head on, such as the 2017's Get Out, an examination of racism. With the declaration of martial law in 1972, the late dictator Ferdinand Marcos inculcated a new moral order, Bagong Lipunan. They confiscated all media outlets and imposed strict censorship rules that regulate the dissemination of images, primarily under his network supervision. Producers avoided producing films that resonated with the new social and historical realities and veered towards the horror films that are supposedly evoking an out of this world reality. Now, let's look into the Philippines horror film franchise, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Shake, Rattle, and Roll had a successful 14 film run since its introduction in 1984 and is composed of three-part segments that each tackle a horrific experience, be it through ghosts and folk creatures in rural and urban areas. Roland Tolentino from the University of the Philippines referred to Shake, Rattle, and Roll as an analog of Anxieties of the Nation for being a long-run franchise in the Philippines. But standalone horror films deserve just as much attention. An example would be the Filipino scream queen Chris Aquino's films. Her most notable film would be Feng Shui, directed by Chito Ronyo. It is about a woman who acquires a bagua and her family's lives become endangered as death follows them at every turn. The supernatural element of the film roots in the superstitions of the Filipino Chinese, while highlighting the Filipino fixation on families. There are also horror subgenres, such as the horror comedy and horror romances, that draws the Filipino viewers who have fixations on the rom-com genre. An example of modern Filipino horror is Prime Cruise's film Ang Manananggal sa Unit 23B, a horror romance film between a manananggal and an ordinary human. This film also goes further than the said genre and has underlying socio-political context, with the extrajudicial killings in the Philippines at present, wherein the manananggal leaves her victims with placards indicating that they are drug pushers as cover-up to justify her own crime. Another example would be Eric Matty's short film Visibus, where a timid man's mundane life takes a turn when he is awakened by a vision of the Virgin Mary. Seklusyon and Eerie tackle Catholic centrism through horror as themes that reflect our culture as the only predominantly Catholic Asian country. Other modern Filipino horror films serve as commentary in our society, such as the film Bliss, which serves as a commentary on the Philippine entertainment industry under the guise of a psychological thriller. That being said, we cannot separate the cultural identity from our horror films. Creating horror out of the familiarity of the situation is what makes it feel more authentic, relatable, and effective to its viewers. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do apologize for my voice right now. I've been sick for the past few days and not the good kind, but I'll be fine. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really do have a soft spot for Filipino horror films. My personal favorites would be White Lady, the one starring Angelica Panganiban, Text, the one starring Angel Oxine, and the LRT episode in Shake Rattle and Roll. Those are the standouts that really left a mark on me growing up. So, what about you guys? Tell me in the comment section what are your favorite Filipino horror films? Other than that, leave a like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and see you guys next time.